Kemi is married to a very rich, generous, but abusive man who financially supports her entire family, taking her brother abroad and paying for her mom's life-saving dialysis. After reporting the abuse, her father tells her to remain in the marriage because leaving could lead to her mother's death and losing their family's financial support. Should Kemi A. leave the abusive marriage immediately and risk her mother dying and their family losing their financial benefits? Or B, should Kemi stay in the abusive marriage for a while for the sake of her family's survival? If your answer is A, you take a huge step forward. In 3, 2, 1, move.
Kemi should just stay for a while, be done with her mother's dialysis, and then get in on the law enforcement agencies to save her out of the situation.
If Kemi doesn't leave, it's Kemi that they will be buried next.
We've brought 6 feminists into our studio today to test their morals with 5 very difficult dilemmas.
Why you even say stay small? They involve law enforcement agents. Why are you assuming that she should stay small?
Have you ever grieved a loved one before?
That is none of my fucking business, man. You live, your mom is going to die. You do remembrance every year.
With difficult dilemmas coming up like Awa's best friend is getting married to a misogynist that Awa has advised her against multiple times. She keeps saying she will change him. Awa's best friend now says she wants Awa to be a bridesmaid in a wedding with this misogynist. Should Awa A. show up for the wedding, be a bridesmaid and get along? Or should Awa B. decline her best friend's request to be the bridesmaid and not show up for the wedding? If you're going with option A, on the count of 3, you take a huge step forward across the line. If you're going with option B, you stay right where you are. In 3, 2, 1. With the difficulty of each dilemmas increasing at every level, let's see how the morals of these feminists will fare when faced with these difficult dilemmas. Everyone, please put on your blindfolds for the first dilemma. Cynthia got a life-changing job offer, but Cynthia's new direct boss is a very misogynistic man. They've had an altercation online before that was a bit messy. Should Cynthia A. accept the job offer and work under a misogynistic boss? Or B, should Cynthia reject the life-changing offer because she's going to be working under a misogynistic boss? If your answer is A, on the count of 3, you take a huge step forward. In 3, 2, 1, move. Everyone, please take off your blindfolds. Only one person stepped out. Now, let's hear from her.
In my opinion, principles and values should have boundaries. For Cynthia to say she won't get her money up because her boss is an asshole, like, now herself she dey do. It's almost like saying, if I'm a black person in a racist country, then I'm not going to work for a company because the boss is racist. If it was a personal relationship, if you say she's going to date a misogynist, then obviously no, but for a job.
So going by the story, right, they already have like a messy altercation before. And now you are saying I should put my mental health at stake because of a job. Bearing in mind that I can also get another job that is better than this.
My decision stems from the way I see myself generally, and I believe everybody should see themselves in that way. I think if you're someone who respects yourself and you really do like yourself, there's some certain situations you do not want to put yourself. I really do think your decision stems from the fact that you have not actually experienced real misogyny. That's why, because misogyny cannot be treated lightly. From the prompts, the misogyny was not just a random misogyny. It was a very gruesome misogyny. Aside from that, there's been like an instance where it has happened earlier before. So it is not advisable for anybody to carry themselves and put in a toxic situation when it is very glaring. Check somewhere else, babes. It's not that deep. Like, love yourself.
So I think that you should never like purposely put yourself in a situation where you know in the long run you're not going to feel comfortable with. Of course, money is very good. So money is a tool and money can be taken away from you. So when you now give someone that's already misogynistic to you on Twitter that power to now be your boss, imagine what it's going to do to you every day. Now he's not in charge of you. Will not show you real life misogyny. So I would advise Cynthia, go and dust your CV and get another job.
Mind you, an average Nigerian workspace is misogynistic.
Already.
Now talk of
So you're not
somewhere
giving
that
him
it's
power
now
to now show you what misogyny
has
means
had like
again.
problem with
so
you.
So Cynthia should not take the job.
My position stems from the fact that she deliberately is going to put herself in a position that would make her uncomfortable. If she really believes in herself, that same brain that she used to get the life-changing offer, she can also get another life-changing offer. It's something that has happened to me before, in fact, twice. It happened to me in 2020, happened to me in 2021. I spent 3 months on the first job, spent 1 month on the second job.
Explain, sorry to cut you.
so-
Explain what happened to you. Was it misogyny that happened to you to your work?
It wasn't misogyny, it was toxicity.
Well, we're talking
It was
about
toxic-
misogyny and not your toxicity.
Yeah, but it doesn't invalidate my experience.
It does. We're not talking about toxicity.
It
We're
doesn't.
talking about
I'm still
misogyny.
talking, please.
I don't
I
think
know.
it's time
I'm still
for
talking,
back and
please.
forth yet.
I'm still talking, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I chose option B. I think Cynthia shouldn't take the job because there is something to be said about a boss or someone in a position of leadership that can express their misogyny online. Something emboldens them. And I don't know, either something that has to do with the people that should hold him accountable, for example, the other shareholders would never hold him accountable. If you're talking about misogynists, we all know that men have very fragile ego, right? Misogynistic men, to be very precise. You're not going to go back and forth with an egotistical man and then come to his den and then expect something different. That is very delusional. If we are all feminists, we all know how important career is to the life of a woman. You can say all you want about you could thrive or you could make a difference with your position, but if you're coming to my den after you've gone back and forth with me as a misogynistic man, and as a man with my ego, I'm going to make it my mission to frustrate you because it will be very easy. All I have to do is give instructions and be on my merry way, and you're struggling with the instructions I have given. I love myself a little too much to be in situations like that, and my career is really important to me, so I don't play those kind of games.
I have a question. Would your position also be the same thing if the scenario was a scenario of marriage? Like, would you tell the woman, oh, endure because of your suffering and all of those kind of
That's
things?
why I said that when I was answering, right? I said it's a professional relationship.
Is there like very much difference?
What do you mean is there a difference between a professional relationship
No,
and
like
a
you're
personal
telling somebody like, okay, because of I'm going through something, let me just endure. Like you're advising
You guys are
endurance.
essentially saying somebody like Harriet Tubman, you tell her, oh no, don't sit in the bus, let the white people sit in the bus.
It's not necessarily
Or was
like
the-
that. If we're talking about your colleague, then it's a different conversation. But when we're talking about someone that would be your boss, then it's someone that would decide
I feel
how
like
successful you will become in the future.
Equating sexism to racism really reframes it, especially when talking to misogynistic
But it's
men.
two different struggles, and racism and sexism can go together. Like it
Yes.
can happen to one person. They can be racist and sexist to one person. So a black woman, for instance, now will experience racism as a black person, will experience sexism or misogyny as a woman. So you understand that these struggles, they can interlope.
Yes, but the philosophy of an oppressor is essentially the same when you face it. And I feel like most times with like dismantling oppression, you need a Trojan horse. Like you actually need to be in the building. You won't be like, oh, don't be at the
I feel like
table.
it's very,
because you are
this
so,
thing you are saying is very
like,
nice if you are colleagues, but not someone that has like the upper hand over you.
How much difference can you make with your co-workers?
Oh,
or
you can
people
make a
But are
lot
you
of
aware that your
difference.
boss could
People
literally
with the
spoil
same
and stop
power
your
level
growth in
as
that
you.
system?
It's almost like
Difference if
saying,
it's your boss.
Oh, it's almost like saying when it comes to the black struggle, it matters more if black people think that you are posturing to them and it's like, oh yeah, that person is so pro-black. And then if a black person is actually trying to make it out the hood, then some people will be like, oh, they switched up because they are not so
Okay,
whatever.
I think this is false
I'm also not
equivalence.
I'm
on,
also
on,
saying,
on many different
Bella, I
levels.
think we should stick to misogyny and not bring racism.
You're not going to go challenge your boss and expect to still have a job.
There's just so much that we don't know. I'm just saying sometimes a bird in hand is better than three in the bush.
Half a loaf is better than none.
Okay, we're moving on to the next dilemma, level 2. Everyone, please put on your blindfolds. If you're enjoying this series so far, it would be a great time to let us know by hitting the subscribe button. If a lot of people subscribe from this video, we'll do more of this series. Thank you very much for watching. Now, let's move over to the next dilemma. Kemi is married to a very rich, generous, but abusive man who financially supports our entire family, taking her brother abroad and paying for her mom's life-saving dialysis. After reporting the abuse, Her father tells her to remain in the marriage because leaving could lead to her mother's death and losing their family's financial support. Should Kemi A. leave the abusive marriage immediately and risk her mother dying and their family losing their financial benefits? Or B. Should Kemi stay in the abusive marriage for a while for the sake of her family's survival? If your answer is A, on the count of 3, you take a huge step forward. Move.
Yeah.
Everyone, please take off your blindfolds.
My assumption is based on the fact that Kemi might love her mom and the fact that dialysis is super expensive. And a missed day, especially in a country where healthcare is not at the best optimum, it can lead to loss of the life. And life is super, super important. How many of us have lost our moms here or fathers? Okay, nobody. So nobody can really relate to the loss of a loved one. Kemi should just stay for a while, be done with her mother's dialysis, and then get in on the law enforcement agencies to save her out of the situation.
First of all, let me ask, why is Kemi's brother's health bill on Kemi? Is Kemi the mommy? If Kemi doesn't leave, is Kemi that they will be burying next? Why you say she should stay small? It's like, what if at the end of the day, the brother even dies? So you're telling us to just stay there for nothing. Why you even say stay small, they involve law enforcement agents?
That he made
I'm also assuming, why are you assuming that she should stay small?
Have you ever grieved a loved one before?
That is none of my fucking business, man. Why is Kemi's mommy's hospital bill on Kemi? Like, why is it to the detriment of her own life? You want her to stay in an abusive relationship that is physically abusive for her to gather money. Like, this is why I will always be anti-sprinkle feminism. You are telling the woman to move from the jail, the patriarchy jail, to move to worshiping money. She should move to a different cell. Why are you saying stay there for your mommy to be ill? What if at the end of you stay there, mommy ends up dying, or you even die? To death. You live, your mommy is going to die. You do a remembrance every year.
For one, I don't think abuse should be something that people should take lightly. Be it verbal, if you want to say, okay, it might not be beating her emotionally, anyhow, even financial abuse, because in this Kemi's case, she's going through financial abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and all the abuse.
It wasn't stated in the...
I know, I'm assuming that this is what Kemi is going through. And then saying Kemi should stay because of her mom would die, I don't think it's realistic. Are you very
close to your mom in a way?
Yes, I'm close to my mom.
And if it's you, really, if you're in that situation, you would rather that your mom would die. Like, it's very personal. Okay.
Let me speak first. You attack me later. So there's a possibility that Kemi stays, and then that night there's an heated argument, and then this man, abusive already, stabs Kemi, and Kemi dies. So what are we saying? He's still not going to pay for the mom's dialysis, because what we're trying to say is that because of Kemi, that is why he's paying, not because he even loved the mom, which is his in-law. Me, if I was Kemi, I would clean my camera and go to TikTok and cry for help, basically, and show them, yes, I have proof. My mom needs help. My husband is a bastard. Please help me.
And that's similar to what I was saying.
No, that's not.
No,
It's
the
the truth now.
Small.
I'm saying what I'm going to do now. It's what I'm going to do.
Everything I heard was a life for a life. Also, I really do think, aside from the whole dialysis, blah, 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 or whatever, I really do not think Kemi has to give up her fundamental human rights to life in return for her mother's own. Kemi is suffering from the predicament of a deconstructed family, and I think they have to go through their family issue without including that man. Also, I really do not think we should condone women staying in an abusive relationship on live TV. Please, let's never take chances with abusive relationship. 1 minute, 2 minutes can make a difference. If you have to leave at that moment, please, just try to leave. If your mommy did not give birth to you, your mommy will die. Your mom is not the first to die. Kemi's brother is also very useless. What do you mean you're in school and your sister's husband is paying for your school fees? What kind of silliness is that? And what's Kemi's dad doing?
Exactly.
There's so many options but to stay in an abusive relationship.
We often teach girls that they need to be empathetic, and so empathetic that they come behind everything else. And the reason, it makes sense to you that when we said that Kemi should sacrifice her life for the life of her aged mother is because she's a woman. One of the things we are teaching women is to center themselves above everybody else. So for me, it's more so a thing of how much of Kemi's self is she going to give before it's enough? And what is the guarantee that when Kemi gives herself in this situation again, that is going to fix anything? Also, if I was a mom, I would never let my child sacrifice herself for me.
Yes.
No matter how much they want to make it.
Exactly.
And that is what love is.
So from the first dilemma, I said when it comes to your values and principles, always have boundaries. I feel like when it comes to abuse or abusive relationships, you don't know when that abuse can end a life. So you can't just say, oh, Kemi should stay and then it can save her mom. What if Kemi's life is going to end now? And do you want the mother's last days on earth to be remembering that, oh, she's leaving a daughter that is in such a bad relationship? You don't know when this man can kill the daughter. I feel like with values and principles, always just have boundaries that should not be crossed.
Before we get into it, let me just ask you one question. Would you also advise Kemi's brother go to be an armed robber to save the family instead of Kemi going to kill herself
I think
to save the family?
That doesn't make sense. It's illegal to be an armed robber in any country.
Yeah, it's silly misogynist.
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
it's legal to beat somebody.
Yeah,
No,
silly
that's
misogynist. I'm
legal to
sorry,
beat
I can't
somebody.
engage you.
Bro.
I was
I'm
actually
saying
giving
that
him
you
the
guys will
benefit
never
of doubt.
understand if you
What do you
never love-
silly mean?
You never really
It's against the law
understand.
and the other one should go and kill
I understand.
themselves.
I'm not.
Like, can you see how
I'm
irrational you
definitely not
sound?
abused
Like, it
or
doesn't make
against
any
abusive marriage.
sense,
I'm
bro.
working based on an assumption that she can stay for a while. And then I talked about that she's going to check in on the law enforcement agencies. There are a lot of assumptions.
There are no
because
law
why
enforcement
it's-
agencies. Before we move on, maybe this is outside the stuff. Like he said, it gets tougher, and I want to believe
And that's
it's
the dilemma.
getting more tougher. Please, I get it. There's liberation to like filling in the gap, but please let's not fill in the gap too much with too much emotional antics and what if. Stick to the facts.
Moving on to the next dilemma, level 3. Everyone, please put on your blindfolds. Mary's daughter, Shade, has always dreamt of representing her country in the Olympics. Shade finally has a chance, but eventually lost her spot to a trans woman that just joined the team and is faster. Shade's dream shattered, she became depressed and wants to quit the sport entirely. Should Mary, her mother, A, defend inclusion for women even though it affects her daughter's mental health? B, fights for her daughter and speak against trans women in cis women's sports. If you're going for option A, take a huge step forward on the count of 3. In 3, 2, 1, move.
So they got another woman to take us, but they simply got another woman that was better. Simple and short.
Is that your like this?
That's it.
What's your biological definition of a woman?
Someone that has XX chromosomes, XY chromosomes, I don't know. Anybody that says they're a woman, they are a woman.
No, that's not the biological. What's the biological definition of a woman?
Someone with XY chromosomes.
So basically, trans women are not women.
Trans women are women. So I want to state for the record that with the amount of like drug testing that go on in professional sports, nobody that is not meant to be there will be there if you are not properly tested. Like normally, the main point of sports is I have an advantage over you to win. So if there's somebody that is better, of course, person will be there. So for the fact that they put another woman there to replace Shade is the fact that she can do better than her and they put her there, simple and short.
I really do not think I can decide for Mary's mom. But for me, let's state the fact that I am not against trans rights and whatsoever. I am also not transphobic. I'm speaking from a place of not being entirely informed. And once I don't understand something, I don't say so much on it. I just really think it's logical that trans people should have their spots, women should have their spots, and men should have their spots.
I do not believe that trans women are biological women simply because there was a whole lot of deconstruction that got them to that point. And at the end of the day, they still have a high level of male hormones. So I do not believe that trans women should be participating in women's sports, whether it is boxing, athletics, or football.
So why I chose B is because from a mother's perspective. Then number 2, if we are going to say they are also a group of people, there should be an inclusion for trans women, women and men's sports. Because I think there was a debate online where there was like a trans woman won a particular race.
Sport. Yeah, exactly.
And everybody was like
Outraged.
I mean,
outraged.
Well, maybe
because
she
this-
won the race because she was better.
Yes, she was better, but the strength, if you
Okay,
watch the
you're claiming
video,
that she has
because I watched
unfair
the
biological
video,
advantage.
Exactly.
yes.
That's the case in the fact that women cannot run faster than men. There are a lot of women that can run faster than men.
Personally, it's family first. The mother should fight for her daughter, family first.
Oh, that's your reason.
My take in the debate is not necessarily from a place of who is a woman and who isn't a woman. If I was a trans woman, I would have a problem with someone reducing me to a biological woman, we would never be the same. And we don't have to be the same to share in most of the same struggles. I believe that we should all fight for each other and stand up for each other against the patriarchy. For me, I do not think that trans women and women should be in the same sport.
All right, speaking back to your logic, right? You said something about it's not a matter of the gender itself. Like, it didn't even really matter. The fact that you're a woman or a man does not matter, because a woman could even... But if we're going by that, would you also say women and men should compete together?
If they can, they should.
Can you see the reason why the segregation is happening? They can, they should, but like there's a segregation for a reason. The trans woman now, is it a trans woman that started transitioning at a very young age, that puberty blocks did not even give her testosterone or hormones at all?
Exactly. That's the
If
thing
we-
with sports. You're not going to play the sports if you have unfair biological advantage. If somebody had transitioned when they were 12, which hormones is coming in again?
Yeah, I feel you. I feel
when they were
you.
12. So now they don't have any unfair advantage. They won the sport simply because they are faster.
Well, sources have it that, especially people in combative sports, women are fighting against trans women in combative sport like boxing, because if a trans woman should punch you, I mean, you're going
Is
to
this a
feel them.
thing?
Okay, so now you're
Yes,
talking about
it's a
what
thing.
about women
Yes,
that are
that's
naturally
a-
muscular
there's an actual
that are in
life
sports?
Yeah,
What
example
do they-
combative
from it.
sport is
Yes.
different. Like,
It's a real thing.
Do you know that transphobia affects cis women? If you remember this Algerian boxer, Imani Khalif, she is a biological woman. Simply for the fact that she won a woman that is
She's
more
feminine.
feminine.
Yeah,
she's masculine
she's
presented. She won a woman that is more feminine
Yes,
presented.
yes, yes.
Everybody started calling her a trans woman. Are you seeing the
That's
instance?
misogyny.
No, that's an instance of transphobia
That's
affecting.
misogyny.
That's
no,
misogyny.
that is
she's
transphobia affecting a cis woman.
she is biologically a woman. That's
That is
misogyny.
erasing
That's
the struggles.
misogyny.
This is what happens
That's
to women
misogyny,
in
bro.
conversations about the patriarchy. Every time there is a conversation and we are fighting for women's rights, it immediately turns to a conversation about trans people. And that is why I like to remove that discourse from conversations about the patriarchy, because at the end of the day, I feel like men dominate in everything. When we
They are
talk
the
about
center.
men, we're talking about men. Nobody talks about trans men. Have you noticed this in conversations?
Yes.
Nobody ever brings up trans men in conversations about men's rights. But the minute we talk about women, immediately we are talking about trans women. And everybody starts to forget that there is someone that is even less advantaged in regards to the way the society places us on pedestals or on the ladder of hierarchy.
It's similar to the situation of when we talk about rape with women, then men rape situation just
Exactly.
begins to take
So
over.
why,
We need to be
why are you
able
pitching
to-
your tent?
we need-
Are you
we need
outside
to-
or
we
you're
need to be able
inside?
to-
I'm trying to understand where
We
you're
need to
pitching
be
your
able to
tent.
protect women and their needs and their rights, but also be able to protect trans people or trans women.
We're moving on to level 4. Everyone, please put on your blindfolds. Chineye's best friend is finally happy after years of suicidal depression and also just gave birth recently. Chineye discovers her best friend's husband is cheating on her. Exposing the cheating will likely destroy her marriage and emotionally damage a fragile friend who's just recovering. Should Chineye A, tell her friend the truth and she most likely goes back into suicidal depression? Or B, keep quiet for a while to protect her best friend's newly found peace? If you're going for option A, you take a huge step forward on the count of 3. If you're going for option B, you stay behind the line. In 3, 2, 1, move. Everyone, please take off your blindfolds.
You're a true friend. You must be willing to have difficult conversations with your friend, not just when it is palatable. And so it is the responsibility of a friend to tell his or her friend the truth, irrespective of the circumstances, because the truth is the truth.
First of all, they said the friend was suicidal, just had a baby. So I'm also thinking like postpartum stuff. I just feel like it's such a fragile moment that it really can't wait just for the friend's mental health. It didn't say don't tell her forever and ever. It just said, hold on. I'm Catholic, I believe in prayers. While you're waiting, you can be praying. Now, you can be praying for the friend just for her mental health. I'm not saying that she should or should not stay.
For a
Be
while. The context is
strong
for a while.
enough to listen to such a discussion.
Okay, I feel like she should tell her, because either she tells her now or she tells her later, it's still going to affect her. I feel like she should just feel all the emotions at once and just move on with it.
I think in every decision we make generally in life, we should be very logical. Speaking to the facts of the case, she was suicidal and it's also said she just gave birth. I am not a woman. I really do not understand postpartum, how it works. But from the little I have seen, it's very, very weighing. It takes a lot from the woman. Like, that alone is trauma that she's already going through. And as a friend, you really need to like ask yourself questions like, what is my reason for doing these things? Do I want the good for my friend, or do I just want to see her in shambles? In my opinion, I still think you can meet your friend's husband and have a conversation like, I will meet you generally. I'll tell you, guy, this nonsense what you did do. See this thing, like stop. Like there are different other measures than putting that woman in a place that takes her a million steps back from the healing she's trying to get.
In recent years, there have been a lot of conversations about what the mental health of women in postpartum looks like. But we also forget that after childbirth, that a woman's body is fully a healing wound. And we also forget that statistics have shown that women still give themselves to their husbands for pleasure even before 2 weeks after postpartum is done. So what we are talking about is, yes, you're saving her from the possibility of going back to her depression in the beginning, but you're not talking about her susceptibility to diseases, which could and always comes from cheating. We know so many women that died from their husbands cheating. Simply because I know something and I want to wait does not mean that I can then control when my friend decides to have sex with her husband. And because of that, I will be telling her, because if she dies, then she leaves a child behind. And that's even worse. Because I've been depressed before, I do know that when you walk out of depression, it doesn't take a snap of a finger to go back. Like, I know that for a fact.
So why I'm not going to tell my friend, like the prompt says, I will stay for a while. I'm not entirely concealing the truth from her. If we are going to take my friend's mental health very seriously, she's suicidal. She has depression, postpartum depression. She just gave birth. All of this combined for one person is too much for me to now meet you. And I feel like at that point, I want to tell you that, Afa, I saw Chukwuma cheating on you. It's very insensitive of me as a human being. So I would not want my friend to die because of a man. So I'm surprised that you said that you know how it is easy for you to go back into depression, but you still tell your friend, knowing that she's battling with all of these things, to make her go back into depression.
The point I was making is that you don't just snap back into depression. You could move back into sadness, but snapping back into depression is not as common as people think. Depression is a deep place where you feel like you can't see the light to move out of it. Sadness is it's not just sadness, but it's sadness. You're sad. Something has happened to trigger you, and now you're sad.
I think you are like being a psychologist and saying it could just lead her back to sadness. It could lead her back to suicidal. So that's what...
It could lead her back to being suicidal.
So that means it's something that...
She could either die from the suicide or she could die from an STI. Either way,
also, do you also acknowledge the fact that there's some truths that are not yours to tell? Like, what are the possibilities that the woman herself is even aware and she's just like managing it very well?
Again, you're coming with different
assumptions. And that's okay. After telling her, because a lot of things that women think about before they tell someone that their husbands are cheating is that they don't want to lose the person as a friend, because usually, if you are the truth teller, the possibility that the friendship would end is very high. The thing about me is that I am okay with being the friend you rejected, because I told you the truth.
You guys said that you wait for a while. That's
yes.
That's the same thing I said in the second prompt, right? You wait for a while, and
does everything have to be about you?
No. No, it's the same logic, because waiting for a while, she can be exposed to STIs. She can be exposed to HIV and AIDS.
Cheating are not to the same thing. Like, we don't have to be your teacher.
It's a form of abuse, but it's not like physical abuse.
It's a form of abuse, right?
Yeah, it's a form of abuse.
Exactly. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
abuse and
waiting for a while, there are a lot of things that could happen for a cheating man. A man that is cheating on his wife, even when they have a child.
We are sounding as if we're saying, don't tell her. Like,
people who
understand our point. Tell her later.
Their loved ones say, oh, yesterday this person was happy. 2 weeks ago, this person was happy.
I'm standing on, it's better to tell her than waiting for a while, because you expect the same level of accountability from your friend.
And it's not even a matter of suicide. Let's think about the fact that the woman will not be able to even do anything at that point. You expect the same level of accountability for your friend.
So, but what is the guarantee that she won't find out by herself?
Yeah.
Isn't it the same thing? Whether I find out
that one is even
in the short period, it's a lie. In the short period that you're waiting to tell me, I could find out. Yeah. If I'm still going to commit suicide, I would commit suicide. It wouldn't matter if you then told me or not.
Because you can accept it does not mean I can accept it, even though we have...
Well, you're being a bad friend.
I'm not telling my friend.
You're being a bad friend. You're not being a friend then.
We're moving on to our final prompt, level 5. Everyone, please put on your blindfolds. Awa's best friend is getting married to a misogynist that Awa has advised her against multiple times. She keeps saying she will change him, Awa's best friend now says she wants Awa to be a bridesmaid in a wedding with this misogynist. Should Awa A, show up for the wedding, be a bridesmaid and get along? Or should Awa B, decline her best friend's request to be the bridesmaid and not show up for the wedding? If you're going with option A, on the count of 3, you take a huge step forward across the line. If you're going with option B, you stay right where you are. In 3, 2, 1, move.
Okay, so Awaz has advised her friend severally. She has warned her against getting married to this misogynistic man. So she has played her part, and posterity will always be on her side for it, right? So our responsibility is just to show up for the wedding, and that's fine. I've done my part. She's done her part. I've advised you. At the end of the day, now you go do it in your mind. Once the situation comes in and you start experiencing all of those misogynistic happenings, and then you call me, I will remind you.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I feel like when it comes to tolerance and loved ones, sometimes we don't always agree with what our loved ones believe in, but it doesn't mean we should just like cut them off. We can still love people. It doesn't mean that we're supporting whatever it is that they choose to do, because I feel like that person is more at risk for whatever danger that you think that they are going to face. Because when people are dealing with like abusers or stuff like that, abusers use isolation to control people. And I feel like if you are truly being an ally of the person, then just make sure that they know they always have you and just show up.
Okay, if the man has shown over and over again that he's misogynistic, I would not participate in the tomfoolery that they call their wedding. I will not be there. If your husband is slapping you, what's going to say that he will not slap me on the wedding day? So it's already a known fact that this man is not someone you should be marrying. And you are thinking that you are going to change. Like, let me tell you something for instance. You cannot change a man. That exceptionalism that every woman needs to go through is not going to be different with you. It might be different for a while, but your own turn is coming, and your own might be worse.
Yeah, we agree with that for sure.
Yeah, we agree with that.
Yes,
that's not
what I'm saying. So for you, for my friends to not be thinking that I will change him, I will change. No, I'm not there. You will go alone. Whatever I see, you will see it alone. Me, I support women, but not to the detriment of my own well-being.
I would not go for the wedding. I mean, I've told a friend of mine before because she had a cheating partner. I told her that if you eventually marry this guy, me, I won't come. Why? I think sometimes we need to simplify the meaning of this word. What is misogyny? Misogyny is hate or prejudice against women. If you are willing to marry a man that hates you, like he hates women, obviously he hates you. Why would you think that you're going to change the man? I think that thinking that you are special, he loves me, he treats me better than every other person is what makes some women stay in abusive relationship over time, open WhatsApp group, and then start praying for their husbands, which me, I don't see. So me, I would not go for the wedding. I will stream it online and I will be praying for you that God do not allow you to die, but I will not reach there. Because I can't waste my money to buy a Ashrebi.
First of all, I think there is something to be said for a woman that befriends someone that would date a misogynist. I think that is very worrisome to start with. But also, women end up with people that align with their values at different points in their lives. For example, when they catch a man that defrauded people and was funding a certain lifestyle for his wife and his family, the very common theme there is that the FBI always tries to indict the woman as well. And the reason is that if you were not so comfortable with the possibility of doing anything to make money, you would have questioned your husband and at some point figured out what was going on. If you're with a man that hates women, you do agree with his values. Something about you okays those values for you. And that simply means we do not align them. First of all, we can't even be friends. And the minute I realize that you're going to marry someone that is misogynistic, for me, that ends our friendship. And we also think that attending something doesn't mean supporting it. If you say, I don't support this union, you attending it is giving your support. And I refuse to do that.
So generally for me, I have a mantra that I stand by and I always tell my girls. And the mantra is, it's a bad thing to be a pick-me-sha. It's worse to be friends with a pick-me-sha. The survival of that relationship is going to be on the gossip of you yourself, who is the feminist in that situation. Don't put yourself inside a place where they do not respect or tolerate you. Like, this is a misogynistic person. That woman herself, she's a pick-me-sha. And what are the traits of a pick-me-sha? She's going to be a misogynist herself if she was to be a man. So you, Gonself, what is the friendship? Why am I even being friends with somebody that is going to go and get married to somebody that is already a misogynist? Misogyny is not something that is in bypassing. Misogyny is something that actively exists in our society. Don't be a party to giving it life.
So I feel like we are taking away from the assumption already, right? The prompt says she is already her best friend. You can't change if you.
How did we take away from the prompts?
From what she said, she already spoke about that personally. I'm not going to be partisan to somebody that is misogynist. I'm not going to be friends in first place.
How did it take away that they are no longer best friends? How?
But her choice in a partner is what would change the status of our friendship.
So you no longer be her best friend because
yes,
of
it
the
goes
choice
in
that
line
she
with
made.
the question.
So can you say that I did not take away from the prompt? So know what you are saying.
So basically, like what I'm trying to say is that you guys are saying that your attendance of her wedding means that you are supporting the misogynistic views.
Yes, it does.
That's what it means. Even after the prompt says that you've warned her severally and she has refused to listen. You can't do anything to cancel marriage. You want to scatter the marriage.
I will leave. That's why I'm carrying myself away. I'm carrying myself away.
I am saying I will not bless a marriage that will eventually kill you.
Exactly. You see, this is why I say I don't believe in male feminists.
I mean, that's not the point.
I've seen it too.
A man can never be a feminist. The highest you will be is an ally.
John Stuart Mill. John Stuart Mill is a feminist.
I don't give a about John Stuart Mill, my nigga.
John Stuart Mill doesn't give a about you. What have you done for feminism?
You are coming here
what have you done for feminism?
Shut up, man. Don't ask me.
What have you done for feminism?
Don't ask me. You came here, you're being condescending. This is why I say men can never be feminists. You came here with your leadership mindset.
We've had things from backstage, so yeah, Thank you for the feedback. Are you going to beat me?
What's my business?
Is that what you want to do?
You were going to say something before.
Like, I feel like feminism, we should think about when it started. The people that were leading feminism were fighting for some people that were not yet speaking up. It wasn't everybody who believed that was at a point that they could speak up. I feel like real feminism is not just about self-preservation. Okay, imagine if you have a loved one who is gay and is getting married to their gay partner. Will you be like, oh, if I attend this wedding, that means...
I'm very pro-LGBTQ.
Imagine if you are far right, right? And then you have a loved one who is gay. Imagine if you are far right.
Yes.
Will you now be like...
They don't attend their relatives' gay wedding. I'm saying that they should attend the wedding because...
Should I answer this your question?
Somebody marries someone that
the thing you do not understand is we don't know how to place analogies. Do you understand? The analogy you are placing is something harmless to something harmful.
These are false equivalents. Like it's just a man marrying a man.
They are both
a man possibly killing his wife. They are both harmful.
They are not,
isolating your loved ones. They are both harmful because they share different views from you.
I'm saying queer marriage is not the same thing as misogynistic marriage.
It's not the same thing.
They're two different things.
It's the thing about isolating your loved one.
Okay, Folashade, you were saying something about men cannot be feminists. Can you explain that further?
I believe that men cannot be feminists. The highest they will be is allies because they are not living the experience and they always come in trying to lead the movement that they didn't start and they're always trying to like mansplain things. Like you are not living the experience. You cannot experience what I'm experiencing every day as a woman. You don't know it. The first dilemma, we're talking about misogyny in the workplace and my good friend here found a way to direct it to himself, talking about how he was. And I asked him, have you ever faced misogyny as a man? He said, no, it was workplace toxicity. And I'm like, my nigga, it's not equivalent. I'm talking about misogyny. I'm talking about toxicity. Like everything does not have to be about you. You know what I'm talking? This is like a very, and I'm very sure if you guys want to bear me witness today, everything I've said today is very right.
In my opinion, I really do not think she's lying about him, though.
God bless
about him.
So I disagree with, our opinion of a man cannot be a feminist simply because there are a number of men that have done a lot for feminism, even much more than she's done. For example, John Stuart Mill has done a lot for feminism, equal work for equal opportunities. And I identify as a liberal feminist because I believe in equal work for equal pay. As a technical recruiter and a designer, in my recruitment, I'm going to pay a woman the same wage as I pay a man. And there's a lot of programs that I contribute to, a lot of men contribute to, towards women empowerment and advocacy, taking young girls out of school, making sure that these women are empowered in society. So she cannot say that a man cannot be a feminist simply because they are just men.
I feel like with how this world has changed, we have to get to a point where we can coexist with one another. We can't just be cutting people off that we care about just because they have different views. Also, remember when feminism started, who are the people that you're actually fighting for? Like in Nigeria, I feel like feminism just ends on Twitter or on social media. I think when it comes to real feminism, you have to be a voice for the oppressed.
We are mistaking something. That position is not a feminist position. It is not in a feminist place to come and tell you if you want to attend a wedding or not. It has everything to just do with the way I am. And honestly, I get it, I'm a bad person and I've accepted it. I will not come. It is that simple. Nobody should go to that wedding. Thank you.
I'm telling you, like, the wedding should not even hold.
We're not going to that wedding. Thank you.
The wedding should not hold.
Thank you.
To end this show, we'll allow you guys to come together or not if you want to say a word of greeting to your fellow participants.
Sorry.
Bella. I like you too. I actually do like you. What's
I do. My name is Nadia.
Where is
Ayo, my queen.
Oh, I like people. We're going together.
You deserve to be arrested.
You call me transfer.
No, arrest them.
You are transforming.